You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money and use our code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year with the only Chris level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again. Kicking off another week, and we are going to do it basking in the glow of victory and success as Gerry Glasco and the Texas Tech softball team within sniffing distance of a national title. So we're touching on that today. You can't go without it. We're also getting into some news that we alluded to heading into the weekend and relating to Big 12 meetings last time around, and that was concerning the upcoming Texas Tech basketball schedule, Big 12 basketball schedule, what that format's going to look like as you dial it back a notch. We've got some clarity on that we'll get to in just a moment. Kicking off the program, Chris, you just couldn't find a man who's enjoying the copium from across the nation like I am. Whether it's Texas Tech softball's pursuit of something on a national stage and that spotlight being on the double T there, whether it is portal pursuits, success, and efforts really across multiple categories, football to men's basketball and beyond, back to the softball program, reaction, whether articles written, tweets, twittered, or tweeted, broadcasters commenting here or there. It seems like there's always a reminder when Tech gets put into a spotlight via whatever the case, that it's Texas Tech versus the world. And in this case, Chris, whenever you're stacking wins and success with that, in some of what we've experienced, the softball party, the portal party, etc., run to the Elite Eight, it makes it all the easier to take down these tiers, doesn't it? Have you been enjoying any of this like I have? Because it's just another reminder now, watching some of this softball, how much they hate to see Texas Tech fans have a good time. And boy, are we.
I mean, yeah, and to be fair, the Texas Tech fan base can be a lot on social media. You know, they poke back quite a bit and they fight for their own, which I appreciate. But yeah, the UCLA, I guess it's arrogance. And again, they've won. They are a blue blood when it comes to softball. But poking at your city, poking at, you know, this and that, and having a little third inning party, and then just seeing the reaction in this space, because you kind of have you're the newbie to the party, right? You're kind of the new guy going, hey, what's going on? You know, and people are like, yeah, I don't want to talk to you yet. Well, I mean, you're kind of forcing. No, you will talk to me, and you'll talk to me right now. That's and I'll say this, Gerry Glasco, like this. First of all, the sport is very fun to watch. It's a great product, fast pitch softball. It's fast paced. It's quick. It's 7 innings. You got to pay attention because if you don't, you're going to miss something. I mean, you know, these games are an hour and a half, 2 hours long, and then boom, it's on to the next. You get a really good pitcher, and they can pitch regularly, so it's more entertaining and engaging from that standpoint too. But what Texas Tech is doing in Oklahoma City, and I, you know, so many fans are up there, and it's just I've enjoyed it. I haven't missed a pitch of their postseason. They are undefeated in said postseason. I've gotten a huge kick out of it, and it's because there won't be another year like this one. I will say, file it away, file it. You'll be much better on paper going into next season than you were this one, even with Nyjah and all that stuff.
Wait, Chris, wait. They're in the Women's College World Series right now. Yeah. You know that, right?
Right.
In that context, you're saying it could get better?
Yes, on paper. Okay, going into next year, 1,000%. That's what I'm telling you.
I'm getting a big manila folder to file that one away with because it sounds like there's more to come.
Yes, there is. But this one was I don't want to say off the radar, but this one to some was unexpected. And you saw you saw all the chatter from across the country whenever she being Nyjah Kennedy, to transfer here. She'll never win a thing. That's the dumbest thing ever. What are you doing?
Remind me who Texas Tech is, what conference they're in, where is Lubbock,
exactly.
On and on.
Big 12 semifinals. To which I say, whenever you Big 12 champs, Big 12 tournament champs, national semifinals, all this stuff. But one thing I've noticed, because there's people that have poked at Lubbock and they've poked at Kennedy, they've poked at Glasgow and all these things. One thing I learned years and years ago, and it applies here. Anytime you try to burn somebody else's candle out, it does not make yours burn any brighter. I mean, that's just the way of life. So it may make you feel better for a second, but it doesn't make your candle burn any brighter. I mean, trying to blow somebody else's out. So I just some of that I don't get it. These are
Chris Level today.
It's just that's the way I feel, man. Yeah,
I think it's true.
Yeah, that's the way I feel. I mean, to some of these people, I think it takes them an hour and a half to watch 60 Minutes. I mean, it's like talking smack to some of this. I mean, we're the city smack, academic smack.
Well, the other thing in tow that really gets me, and this is the part I'm really enjoying when I'm talking about Tech versus the world, is the continued sort of narrative and peddling. And you hear it from the broadcasters, like you said what you said a minute ago, the game's only an hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. But how many times can you slip in a description of the NIL deal that Nyjah Kennedy has? That's kind of the game, and it seems like they're playing. How many times can we roll it around? So it's not just confined to that, but it's like the portal efforts for Joey McGuire, Grant McCaslin, or whoever elsewhere. The thought that Texas Tech has originated and invented the financial incentive idea when it comes to college sports is beyond comedy, and it just continues to roll and roll and roll and roll. There's a dose of hate us because they ain't us mixed in somewhere in there, I think. I don't know exactly, but that's part of this as well. So I don't know. I just think it's been interesting to still witness that they do not want us to be in the door. And you got to love that you're just knocking it down anyway.
And yet Coach Glasgow is the most likable, humble, fiery, paid his dues, late to the party guy you would ever, and it's so much fun. I mean, seriously, he's a vibe. I mean, I think so. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, he's freaking barking at the umpire, and then I watched the deal after the game was over. He's like, "That's an elite umpire." I mean, he goes, "I'm just fighting for my team." He goes, "He's an elite umpire. There's a reason why he's here. It's a World Series strike zone. What do you want? What else do we want from me?" But he goes, he's a great umpire. I've watched his umpiring for years. But at the time, it's like, I'm going to get behind this little screen door, and then I might come around it, and I'm going to have a few things to say. And then you're going to warn me, to which Coach Glasgow was like, I gave him no choice. That's what he said after the game. But he's like, hey, man. No,
get him on a screen.
Like he
gave him the thumbs up, which is like calling a guy pal, chief, buddy, or something along those lines.
Yes.
Yeah, that was amazing. I love the whole thing, and I think you're right. It is a vibe.
Oh, yeah. I mean, stealing home. I mean, are you kidding me? This dude is just in his bag. I mean, going, you know what? Gut feeling. I mean, Reagan Jennings, the pinch hit late in the game. She's like, what did I read? Like 6 of 17 or 7 of 15 or something like that off the bench as a pinch hitter. And what does she do? She gets the biggest hit in her life and adds an insurance run. So you go into the final frame up 2 instead of up just 1. And it's just like, he's just coming up. I mean, it's just beautiful to watch. And that's why I say it's like, there's going to be no year or season like this one for that program. There's always got to be a first one.
Yeah.
And I just remember how it was when Tech Hoops was starting to kind of knock on the door, but when they pushed through, it was kind of off the radar. But right now, I generally think, while there's a lot of haterade being sucked down by folks out there, and I'm happy to drink those tears. I'll be a great tear drinker. I think there's a lot of people that like your team that are neutral observers, just because of the personality, the pitcher, the youth, and the newcomer status. There's some of that too, and so it's just been a lot of fun. But boy, you've set yourself up here to be in a good spot to potentially be in a position to play for the whole dang thing. And boy, howdy. I mean,
that puts you on a short list.
Yes.
When you're talking Texas Tech, that puts you on a short list
now
of Red Raider annals.
Now that you're in the semifinals, somebody's going to have to beat you twice. You're going to have to suffer 2 losses not to make it to the finals, which start on Wednesday. So, that's the what was the percentages? Like it's in the 80s on teams that go 2-0, win it all, and like it's in the upper 70s or mid 70s on teams that go 2-0 that ultimately advance to the finals. So, I mean, it's you in Texas, which isn't that ironic. So I don't know. I just it's been a lot of fun to watch, and we're parachuting in here. It's not like you and I were watching.
No, I've still got some questions, actually, Chris.
Yeah, okay.
To pose to you or others with knowledge of softball, because man, the vibes were at an all-time high. First, today's episode brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all the money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it can be easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. You're going to love the all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money today. Use our code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com and our code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Man, the vibes were at an all-time high when Michaela Garcia came sliding into home plate between the catcher's legs. Hilarious. Just added an element of humor and comedy that's going to go down smooth for anybody watching. But that was an amazing moment. But I was wondering, like, how are they so caught off guard? Was it because the clown hats, the elastic was cutting off some circulation possibly upstairs when they were fitting them on their heads, or the feathered boas getting in the way where they couldn't really see what was? And herein lies my question. I'm not watching softball regularly. Do I blame that on softball or just an all-time lame showing from the University of California in Los Angeles? I was taken aback by that. I actually had to pause the TV for a minute and just kind of collect myself and let my wife and company walk through the room, because I thought they may be thinking, what's going on? Are you watching Bozo? What's happening? This is a high-level Women's College World Series softball game, I thought, and then all of a sudden – we got party favors and tricks coming out. So do I blame softball or I blame UCLA for that? Any idea?
Well, I'm just like UCLA. I'm going to blame them.
Okay.
That's
where I was leaning.
I can't. In many respects, they're hard to take seriously. That they are born on third. Think they hit a triple scenario. They came along with USC to the Big Ten. I think USC was like, "Hey, this is what we're doing." Okay, we'll show up in our powder blue with a giant bear on the side of our helmet or whatever.
Well, Chris, I don't want this to be a verdict on powder blue.
I do like the color. I do like the color. I do. But they're. I mean, to be honest, they're kind of irrelevant. Generally speaking, I mean, remember, and this is a guy that I know, so I hate to like poke fun. I'll take you back to almost a year ago in the summertime. Remember when Deshaun Foster, who was a running backs coach here for 1 year under Cliff, and this was a viral clip, people can Google it, and he sat down at the Big 12 media days, and he's like, "I'm Coach Foster. UCLA is located in Los Angeles, California. Okay, do we have any questions?" I mean, it was just like, dude, what is happening? Like, what did I tune in?
Wikipedia page, man. Let's
go. Yeah. I mean, so anyways, I mean, they're
okay.
Just,
okay. So not an indictment on softball at large. That was completely.
I'm going to poke at UCLA. Fault. And like, they're all wearing those either boas or like those leis and everything. I'm like, what you don't live in Hawaii, man. I mean, like, what, did you forget where you're at? it's a smog infested, West Coast city that'll fall into the ocean is where you live. So you want to
outdoor warnings.
Yeah. You want to
Like
poke
literally
where I
outdoors
live.
is trying to kill you today. That's not a great place to be.
And here I am trying to blow somebody else's candle out. See, I should take
Blow
my
it out.
advice. Look in the
Blow it
mirror,
out.
Chris.
Hey,
Yeah.
I did want to shout out Coach Glasgow as well, because the guys that I was watching the game with, as we traditionally do, the boys get together for the Women's College World Series this time of year.
Sure.
We all picked up on, because they've been emphasizing how he's traveling across the country with the pitching machines, and he's like in the truck, he's on the roadway. And this is a male perspective. You're a male, so I'm going to put it to you as well. I don't know if this will resonate with ladies or not, but we're kind of thinking like, okay, you've got, 30 ladies on a bus. Somebody needs to drive the truck with the pitching machines. Is it crazy that the head man would say, hey, you know what? I'll hop in that truck. We're going to keep the vibes at an all-time high. No encounters on, mom and dad in the front seat may get a little testy on a long road trip. So I'm just kind of thinking he's really one of us. He said, no, I'll hop in the truck. He's got his own playlist. I mean, he's probably having a great time out there.
Listening to AM radio, I'm sure, is Gerry Glasco. Ain't no doubt. I mean, my thing is like you can't rent a pitching machine somewhere else. Is like the ones you have so special. Is like it's at some point. I think it's like I used to be with. I'm not this way anymore. It's the way I used to be with washing dishes or mowing the lawn when I was growing up. It was like therapy. Like there was a sense of like, it's good to get outside and like mow. And like I can see what I've accomplished, and it just looks so good and whatever. I think, honestly, all kidding aside, it's probably therapy for the guy. I think he's superstitious. Some of it's insanity because some of these drives are like, hey, man, this isn't smart or they're good use of your time as the head coach here. But that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing is like, because this is a dude that didn't get into this until his like, what was it, 50s or early 60s. He didn't get his first, head job. But 4 or 5 years ago, he was this big time assistant. But it's his daughter is the pitching coach, and he coached her. And there's so many fun things about like his journey to this point, and it's like his passion for fast pitch softball. So I don't know. Very, very easy to root for. And
absolutely.
I mean, and I think what'll happen is that he's gonna do this for the foreseeable future, and then at some point he's going to turn this thing over to his daughter, who's the pitching coach, and you'll have Glasgow's running around here, and they've just been a great fit for Lubbock, and it's kind of set this community on fire a little bit here in late May, early June, and maybe even way before that, but it's national TV, folks, and they're on the biggest of stages. And that environment is just juiced. I mean, it's just I don't know. I've already got it on my calendar for tonight, 6:00. I mean, like the Level household will be stopped what we're doing. We're watching. So I'll quit rambling, but yeah, it's 3 thumbs up. If I had a third one, I'd give you 3.
Softball fever sweeping the South Plains.
Sure.
And we're looking for a little more of that fever. Hopefully the run will continue as we roll into the next ball game. All right, before we get out of here, Chris, it's been fun celebrating that, but we do need to look ahead to some business at hand. And first we look back to what they decided at some Big 12 meetings not too long ago. And one of those things that we discussed on a previous episode was the handling of a dialed back Big 12 basketball schedule, at least from what we knew it to be this previous season, and how that was going to be set up. And we've got some of those details now emerging. So what did you make of what we learned on the hoops schedule front?
Yeah, so I listened to a lengthy interview last week with, and I'm his name's going to escape me here, but basically he's in charge of basketball for the Big 12 Conference, specifically men's basketball. And so he kind of led the meetings with all the Big 12 coaches. I believe this was on, I want to say this may have been on Wednesday when all the Big 12 coaches were there from a basketball standpoint. I think football coaches were there Thursday, and then away we go. So one of the things that comes out of this meeting was something that we kind of knew, but we get a little more reason for it, and we get some explanation on here's what's next, or okay, what now? They I think collectively all agreed they wanted to roll it back to an 18 game schedule. I think this is what you'll see really going forward now. I think this 20 gamer was a one time only.
Can
And
I
it's
ask
not,
you, Chris, is that grind related? Is it TV inventory direction related combination?
I think they felt like at the end of the day they were trying to ask the question, how do we get the most bids in the NCAA tournament? And they didn't feel like a 20-game conference schedule would ultimately do that. Now there's a catch here, but look, teams got injured, including, the Red Raiders. There was no bye week. There was no like a few days off in the midst of this. It was the way it was explained. We played 20 games in 20 straight windows. Like there was no, mixed in like, okay, this week you're just going to play the one game in that 7-day span. No, it was 2 games a week for 20 straight weeks, or 10 straight weeks, 2.5 months. But okay, so the catch is there's a few things here. So before you played 5 teams in a home and home. It was that scheduling matrix. I think Tech had, let's see here. You're gonna have to help me out here. You did Arizona State, you did Arizona, I think TCU, Baylor, and Houston, I believe, were your 5 home and homes last year. Does that sound right to you? I believe that's right. Okay, so that will roll it back now to where you're going to play 18 games. Now you're only going to play 3 home and homes. I think that will have a huge effect. How that's decided and who gets whom will have a huge effect on ultimately the league title race. Who gets Houston twice and who doesn't? Who gets Texas Tech twice? Who doesn't? Which trio of home and homes is easier than other? Are we going geography here? Are we trying to go like, let's showcase the best teams and let's throw out a bunch of top-notch TV inventory. Let's play Tech and BYU twice. Let's play Houston and Texas Tech twice. Well, to which already that wouldn't necessarily be fair for that trio of programs, but you get what I'm saying if that's what they wanted to do. So I ultimately don't know what explanation you'll get on how they determine, because it's easiest to say, Baylor, TCU, Oklahoma State. We're going geography. It's the simplest. It's the easiest on travel. We need to be better for the student athlete. Well, okay, not everybody's is as simple as that. So I don't know what all that looks like. I think that is key. But what really came out of it is that as I'm listening to him describe how you're going to have to, okay, so if we're going to just do 18, here's the onus back on you as a program, and then this is all the coaches. Do you want to schedule like you just want to make it to the NCAA tournament, or do you want to schedule like you want to be a 1 seed in the NCAA tournament? Those are vastly different things. And I think that basically he's saying don't schedule it down like you're just trying to make it into the tournament and not put enough meat on the bone there in the non-conference. I think test yourself, step out there. If you can secure some of these MTEs and games, Bahamas for Tech, neutral site in Fort Worth and in Madison Square Garden for Tech. There's one more to come. I think people will be intrigued. It's not necessarily my news to break, but I believe there's rumors of a pretty – I think it will be a home and home, but I think you may end up playing a road game here in November, December that I think could be pretty salty, a true road game. I'm going to assume that this same program would potentially come back, but I'm not going to get into any more details than that. And it could have fallen through. We'll see. But I think you're trying to schedule somewhere between being a 1 seed and kind of where you were last year. I think you're really going to step out there and test yourself, and then we'll see what you get with your matrix. Okay, so that was a long answer. But, yeah, we are changing back to an 18-game schedule. Lots of questions, but you've got work to do if you're the coach, and I'm curious as to who you end up having to play.
I was wondering if you really felt like Coach McCaslin or leadership with the basketball program the experience in the tournament last time around, which wound up being a run to the Elite Eight. Do you feel like that was something that included some, regret about, I don't know, an advantage lost here or there, or a matchup lost here or there because they weren't a 1 or 2, to then motivate them to really try and, I don't know, do something different non-conference wise? Or was, for Texas Tech specifically, it a wash?
I think you could make the argument that it had nothing to do with scheduling. I think maybe you could have made the argument. I think you got ground down by the schedule. I do. I think that you had plenty of games missed by some of your players, whether they were cleared or not, or whether there was somebody else making that decision for them and it has nobody Tech related, whether you just got kind of wound down a bit and, you needed a break and all that. I think the one lesson you learned was need a little more depth. Need a little more depth to this deal to get us through this deal. Now you're not going to necessarily have to deal with it. So you'll get a bye week this time. You're not going to play conference games in December going forward. It'll start in early January. I think in most years, depending on the calendar works. But I think that's probably the lesson that maybe Grant learned. Let's go ahead and fill this thing out with maybe a few more pieces. And again, I say that, but you thought you were going to have Devin Chambers last year until you didn't. So you had it built, but I think they've been intentional with filling it out a little bit. And I think they would have told you that they were a bit grinded and could you have put your a better foot, could your best foot in front of the other, I guess, on some of the conference race. If Chance wouldn't have missed, if D5 wouldn't have missed, if JT wouldn't have missed, if whatever you were dealing with. Emily Yalaho was banged up. On and on it went. And so you trotted out 6 players one game against the best team on your schedule. You had a variety of scenarios where you're like, okay, we're Leon Horner. Hey, we're going to Kansas City. Pull in your red shirt, kid. Let's do it. Let's go ahead and this is important. So there was some of that I think probably just because it's like you could never catch your breath. But I don't know if there's anything from the schedule that you've learned from. I just think that they're saying to you, it's in your hands. You do what you want. It's your non-conference schedule. What we are telling you is be smart about it. Test yourself and make those games count. Because the head of the conference for basketball basically said, you want to know why the SEC got 14 teams in to the tournament and the Big 12 only got 7? And you want to know why seeding was the way it was? Is because the Big 12 didn't have a great November and December last year, period. So fix it. We're going to take some off of you. This is what y'all all have wanted. So go fix it. And then these results in November and December, they matter as we've seen.
Yeah, no doubt. Interesting stuff. And I'll be curious to see how it plays out, particularly within the league as you talk about who's getting who 2 times around and who you're not getting, just as importantly, on that schedule in that same category. I'm sure there'll be no complaints on the other side of those things being released. Everybody will feel like this was even handed fair and appropriate.
They will have to have really solid reasoning there, because I'm telling you, because you largely know what everybody's roster is. You've seen preseason top 25s. They've been coming out daily by some of these outlets for the last 6 weeks every day. Everybody knows where the portal pieces landed and who's expected to be what. And again, some that are ranked won't be when it's all said and done. You hope that's not the program we're talking about. And others that are way off the radar will be far better than. But like, for example, if you sit there and tell me, hey, Chris, the Red Raiders have to go play Houston, BYU, and Iowa State. Those are their home and homes. I'm going to say that's BS, man. Like, that is horribly lopsided. You're sending me the 3 of the toughest places to play in the conference. Those are the 3 road trips that I guaranteed I have to go make. Well, what are these other folks doing?
Well, aren't you also in the league office thinking about attractive matchups for the league? Doesn't that
there's going to be some of that. Yeah, there's going to be some of that. But they have to have. They can't just say, "Hey, Houston and Kansas, y'all are going to play home and home every year," because it's a. I guess they could. I just don't know what card you're playing there on how fair that is. I don't know. There's got to be a happy medium where we have some rules and or like some structure, but also trying to take care of our TV partners too. So I don't know.
I'm glad the decision's not mine.
Yeah,
going to need a big whiteboard for that process,
because somebody's going to hear some complaining for sure. There ain't no doubt.
There's from every corner of the Big 12 universe, as it would be in every conference. You're going to have that type of reaction. All right, man, enjoyed it, and hopefully we are right back to keeping the vibing going. If we can get another Red Raider softball win, so we'll check back in on that on the other side. And appreciate your time as always. We'll see you for the next one.
Yeah, and last thing, I did not know this until over the weekend, but my daughter played with like summer league volleyball for a couple of years with Michaela Garcia. She was the one that stole home.
Yeah,
and so it was kind of like my worlds colliding type scenario. She went to a small school to start was at Friendship High School, but then transferred to Tech, and she's accepted a role. So anyways, but yeah, what an iconic moment, sliding through the catcher's legs, stealing home. When MLB, which is not even the sport, when they're retweeting it or sending that deal out, I'd say you done good, Michaela and Coach Glasgow. So yeah, hopefully we'll keep it rolling. Guns up tonight, 6:00, national television. We'll be back to break it down mañana.
Gotta love the headline, local boy or girl makes good. Always love to see that. Anybody from the 806 making waves. And that was a big wave. All right. I appreciate you guys for being out there. Get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Thanks to the everydayers for always riding along. And a shout out to the Matador Mob, of course, as well. Hit the show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial if you're interested in joining that crew. That's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text and straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks as always for the time, and we hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.